Please, can you introduce yourself?
My name is Oluwatoyin Sarah Bamigbola. You can also call me Grace. That's my other name.
We are with you, ma.
Hey, good evening. So my my story began like this. I was 3 years and 3 months when my dad died. He died in a car accident. Before the death of my father, I was my father's favorite child. So that's one thing that I don't know. I don't know why he loves me so much, or I don't know, but my father was my best friend, and I still had memories, even though I was 3 years in. I had some good memories about him, and that's the only memories I hold on to because I can't really recollect his face anymore. So after my dad's death, we we left Ileife because that's where we were born. Everyone with my siblings. I'm the last child of 5 children. We are 4 girls and a male child who is my immediate brother. He's the second to the last born. I am the last born. So we moved to Ibafogo State, and we moved to Ibafogo State in 2004, and that's where we have been till date. Yes. So it was quite very hard for my mom to send me to school, including my elder ones are very much older than I am. Our first one is about 25 years older than me, 28 years older than me. Wow. So they were very much older than me. They were grown. Our first one was married already before my dad's death. Our second one was already working in Lagos State. Our third born and my brother was, they were living with my grandmother in Kaduna State. She was sponsoring their education. So I was the only one with my mom. And it was very hard for my education. Then later, our second born joined us, and our third born, the two ladies, they joined us. And God sent a helper who gave us a house to live for free. And he was paying my school fees. I was in primary school then. So he was paying my school fee. And over time, my mom had a man friend. I don't know, because he did not legally marry her. So I would just call him or refer him as man friend. I cannot refer him as a stepfather. This man was harassing me sexually when I was 8 years old. As far back as I can remember, I was in primary 3 and I was 8 years old. He was harassing me, and every time I tried to tell my mom about it, I don't know if she was covered with love or she was just being ignorant. She would always tell me that I'm a sorrowful child. She didn't want to have me, but my daddy pushed her rather to have another child because they were expecting a male child, another male child, and I came in as a lady. And then after they had a girl child, he died, and she's left to take care of me and suffer. So those were her words. She would never believe me. She said, I've never loved the man. So she believed I'm cooking up lies against the man. So he was my class teacher then. We used to call him only then because we were still in primary school. He was my father. There was no molestation, but I was being harassed. He forced me to sit on his erected dick, forced touch my breast without my consent. Of course, I was still a child. There's no consent I can give to such.
How old were you then?
I was 8 years old when it started.
Wow. Okay.
And it continued like that till I was 13. Because
from 8 to 13 years.
Yes.
Wow.
He will not stop harassing me.
Wow. That's a whole lot.
The harassment didn't stop till I was 13.
Wow.
Yes. Every time my mom tells me to go and pick his wash, he took the opportunity to force me to come into his room so he could touch me. And then grab me somehow, put me on his bed, try to put his mouth in my mouth. Then I'll find a way to run away. Somehow, he used to find a way to me. Then I'll be sad. I remember then I used to blame God so much for taking away my father. He should have taken my mom instead of my dad.
Wow.
Then, before now, her reason was that she knows how much I love my dad. In fact, it took the grace of God for me not to die because I was constantly being visited by my father's spirit. I mean, I don't know if it was I don't know how to really put it now. I don't know if I should say I was just it was not real, but I know he was constantly coming to visit me and promising to take me away with him. It was even my mom that took me for a deliverance, and I stopped seeing him till date. So she believed that it was because I love my dad so much. That was why I was putting up lies against a man friend. That was her belief then.
Okay.
So it officially ended in 2013 when my grandmother died, and then my elder brother had to come down to Ogun State in preparation for her burial. We had a burial at Ilorin. So when my brother came, then I was always looking for true love. My mom didn't believe me, and my sisters were busy hustling. They do not really have my time. About 13, both our second born and our third born were already married. They already left us. It was just me and my mom and this man whenever he comes to visit. So I didn't have so much opportunity to be with them except on holidays. Those were the time that I'm always free with my mom's man friend. But once we resume back to school, I know he was going to visit, or my mom sent me to him, and it's going to happen. So when my brother came October 13, then I was already looking for love outside. I was already 13. I was in JSS3 preparing for my Becker exam. I was already looking for validation outside. I was looking for who to accept me and listen to me. So I had a male friend then who listened to me. So sorry. On Valentine's Day, when JSS3, everyone was exchanging gifts. I do not have money to get him a gift. He got me gifts, so I had to pen down sweet and amazing words to him. So those were my gifts. So I unpacked with some of my books. My mom is not learned, she's illiterate, she has never been to school, so she always makes sure that any book she finds, whether I would need it or not, she would always give them. So when my brother came, after my grandmother's burial, we were all together in the house. So he asked to bring out my report card. I've not seen him in a very long time, about 12 years, since our father died. So I don't think I've seen him until then. So I do not really know his face, except when he sent his pictures to us, and it's usually hard copy because then neither my mom or I had a smartphone. So he was checking through my results and he was telling my mom how he was proud because I am still a very intelligent girl, and then I was leading my class then. So he was telling my mom how he was proud and all. So he found the rough book, the rough letter that I penned down for my male friend. I tried to explain to him that it wasn't that I was dating or I was trying to do anything bad. I was just trying to express how much the guy makes me feel and all, but he was not having it. He felt maybe I was already a bad girl at that age. So he beat me mercilessly so much. I've never had such a beating in my life. Yes, my mom beats me, but I've never had such in my life. He beats me with the belt and I apologized. That was it. So he left us and went to spend some days in one of my sister's place. So it was just me and my mom. That night, my mommy now called me. Oluwatoyin, ma, mo fẹ́ béèrè nǹkan lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀. I want to ask you a question. And I'm like, okay, mommy, what's the question? She said, my brother is taking me with him to continue my senior secondary school because she can no longer afford to send me to school. In fact, my going to school was just a miracle because the man stopped paying. The man I initially said was paying my school fees, stopped paying my school fees at primary 5. So I didn't go to school in JSS1. Later, I went for a term and then I didn't go again. I was home. My JSS2, I didn't go to school. I was just home reading. I'll borrow notes from those that went to school. I was home reading. So I was supposed to resume to JSS2 third term. I just resumed to JSS3 third term to cut down my mom's bills of paying extra school fee. I told her that I'm going to pass, and to God be the glory, I went for the admission exam, and I was enrolled. In fact, it was one of the biggest private school then in my area at Ibafo, Delore. It was one of the best schools, and in fact, we didn't go with any money. It was just God. She admitted me, and later. So I don't want to make the story too long. So she asked me that my brother had promised to take me with him to Kaduna State to continue my education because school fees is less expensive there, and he will be paying my school fee. That she will only be supporting if there is need, if there is a need. And I said, okay, there are no problem. I would even go. So I was already excited that finally I will be free from my.
Is it that your immediate elder brother?
Yes, my immediate elder brother is 10 years older than I am.
Okay.
Yes. So that was it. She now said, but the condition my brother said, because of what they saw in the afternoon, is that if I am no longer a virgin, if you do not take me with him, I would never forget that night. I began trembling seriously because I already pictured my life, a new life in Kaduna State, and now I'm going to be free from my mother's man friend. So I had to open up to her that, mommy, I don't know if I am still a virgin or not. She said, why? I said, because the only person that keeps touching me and tries to finger me, because then I do not know the word fingering. Okay. I just told her touching my private part is a man friend. The man's name, we usually call the man Babashino. I told her it was Babashino, and she was like, Am I sure? I said yes. I was crying and I was begging her to believe me this time around after she had slapped me several times. So I don't know what happened. She just locked me in the room. I was crying and crying. So she left. About 30 minutes later, she came back. She started beating me. I'm a liar. I'm a wicked child. What has she ever done to deserve what I'm doing to her? I just want to ruin her happiness. And I kept asking what happened. She said she had gone to Babashino and Babashino denied doing it to me. I said, I'm not lying. She said, Babashino is not lying, no, because in fact, the man took her to an herbalist and he sworn there that he has never had his way with me. So I am the one that is lying. Anyways, after she had beaten me that night, there was nothing I could do. I just told her that, okay, if they want to take me to the hospital for test, then it's so that was it. That was all I can remember with her, and that was the last time we talked before my brother now took me to Kaduna. I don't know whatever she had discussed with my brother, but he eventually took me with him to Kaduna State. So I got to Kaduna. I was about to clock 14. Yes, when I got to Kaduna. I got to Kaduna August. We were supposed to resume for the new term, just like this now, that they are resuming to a new section. Yes, in September. That was when I got to Kaduna. I was to resume to SS1 after my Becker exam. So he asked me that he would not always be at home, so he would need me to be busy with something else. aside going to school.
Okay.
And he asked me, would I want to learn tailoring or hairdressing? I hoped in for hairdressing. I hoped in for tailoring rather. I'm sorry. I'm trying to tell the person that is calling me that she should hold on. Okay, so I chose tailoring. He registered me. He registered me with my boss then. So I was going there during the holiday. He had already registered me in the school too, waiting for resumption time. So, and those time, usually he's always the one buying my sanitary towel, he buy me my recharge card. Okay, at that time, he had already gifted me a smartphone, Techno M3. Yes.
Okay.
That was the phone I was using then. So most times it was the one I used to chat with and then on to go with my friends here in Ibafo before I went to Kaduna State. So that was it. But then there was a day I was searching his house and I found a book. I remember that I was the one that sent him that book by my uncle's wife. That's my mom's younger brother's wife. She came to visit us from Kaduna then when she had a new baby. She came to visit my mom. So when she was going, I now wrote a letter that she should please give it to my brother then. I was still in primary school then. Yes, I was still in primary 4 then when Mommy Bukomi came. So I wrote about 3 different letters to him because I love writing. I enjoy writing. I wrote how much I would want to see him after we lost our dad. I didn't see him again. I can't even recognize him again if I see him outside, except for the pictures that Mommy Bukomi brought. So when I saw the book, I was so glad. When I read my part of the letter, then I saw that he already penned down some other words for me. I don't know, maybe he was looking for somebody to send it to or something, and he just wrote it and kept it. He wrote so many sweet things about me that he would have wished to have me as his wife if I wasn't his younger sister.
Wow.
Yeah, so I didn't presume it to be anything bad. I just thought that's how much she loves and cherish me. I didn't see it as any other. I didn't see it as a bad thing.
Okay.
So the night that it eventually happened, I remember that he bought a juice from his office, from where he works, home, and then on our timetable, because we had full timetable then, we had to eat bread and akara. So we went outside to get the bread and akara. Then we came back, we ate together, we laughed, we gist. He told me about his work. Then I was telling him about my progress. Then I've resumed to school. School had resumed. So I was telling him about my progress in school. We gisted, we drank the juice, and I fell asleep. We were sleeping on the same bed. And sometimes he allows me to sleep alone on the bed and then he sleeps on the floor. Because it was a room apartment. It was a self-owned apartment, a room. For that night, I know it was happening, but it happened like a dream. I knew somebody was having sex with me, but it was happening like a dream. That means I am conscious and still unconscious at the same time.
Okay.
I knew that it was happening, but I was too weak to stand up or to find out anything that was wrong or something. But in the morning, it was on a Saturday stroke, a Sunday morning. In the morning when I woke up, I was very weak and I was having pain in my private part. So I wanted to go and ease myself to see what was wrong when I woke up. I didn't even check my bed. I didn't check anything around me. I don't know if he was still pretending to be asleep, so I don't know. But then when I stood up and I went to the toilet, I saw that my pants was stained. But it was not time yet for my menstrual cycle. It was not time for my period. And the pain I was feeling in my private parts, I don't usually feel it when I'm having my period. So I didn't understand the pain. But anyways, I just felt that maybe it's my period, maybe it's another type of pain I'm experiencing. Actually, I didn't think about the dream. What I saw when I was sleeping, I didn't think about it. So when I came in, I saw that my brother had already packed the bedspread. He had changed his boxers and his singlet as well, and he packed it to one side. I usually wash our clothes, both his and mine. I'm always home during the washing. So I now asked, I was now telling him, my brother, I just washed this bedspread. It's not dirty. He said no, that is dirty. He wants to wash it by himself. I should not worry. That he wants to wash it with his boxer, so there is no need. I should go and dress up for church. I went to the bathroom, had my bath, changed, and I wore my Sunday dress. He had gone to the bathroom too, had his bath too. I don't know what I went to do behind our window. I now saw that one of our buckets was covered with a plank. So I decided to open it. Was there? I thought I felt maybe he soaked it. He doesn't want to wash it. So let me just wash it now that he's in the bathroom. Let me just wash whatever that is there. But when I opened the plank, it was full of blood. Everything was blood, and that was when I began to remember what has happened in the night. That it was happening. Then I was already 14, and I've learned so much biology and all. I've known about sex. So and immediately he came. I realized that he actually drugged me and do that to me. I remember that I put my hand in the water that was full of blood. That was what I used to watch in Hollywood movie when they take their virginity away from them by rape or somebody took advantage. They put the blood in their mouth and curse the person. And that was exactly what I did that morning. I began to curse him that me that I've already planned that this was going to be my husband. I vowed to God that I was going to keep myself, because they used to call me SU, they used to call me Mommy Gio. I've always been a lover of God since I was very young. I started evangelizing since I was very young, fast when I was 9, 10. Started doing it, and I was a redeemer. That was where I got I gave my life to Jesus, and my pastors then, they took me as their child. They were always preaching to me. So I already known God, not as deep as I know him now, but I know God then. I was cursing and I was saying, until the day he confesses that he did this to me, shall not be fair with him. That was it. So there was nobody I would tell. It was just the two of us that was there. And because even when I was home, nobody believed me about Babashino. Who would now believe me about him? And my brother is this very quiet, extremely gentle person that has this innocent look. So if I tell people such a story, I just come to a conclusion that nobody will believe me. My brother is too perfect to tell anybody he did such a thing and they will believe. Even our family friends that were dead then, we had a family friend. They were friends to my grandmother who died. So I usually go to their place weekend to make my hair. I know they will never believe me because they've been with Ola for so many years, more than they've been with me. So they will choose him. So I decided to keep it to myself. I just became a sad child. I was always crying in the class, and that was it. It didn't stop. It continued like that until it has happened like 3 different times before I now told one of my teacher, Mr. Julius. Yes, Mr. Julius was my best teacher then because he was the one that was taking care of me. Anytime I am feeling sad, he's the only one that showed concern. So I opened up to him and I told him how this thing has happened and how it happened. So he told me that any gift whatsoever that is edible, he buys for me in the night. I should make sure that I do not eat it that night or drink it. I should wait till the next day. I could bring it to school. Then when I bring it to school and I feel some kind of way, would know that this is how he has been doing it. And that was what we did. We eventually find out that he was drugging me and having his way. So whenever he buys me gifts, I would pretend like I've eaten it. I'll eat it. And then he will come by night. And it's somebody that I cannot open my eyes to look at. I don't want him to know that I've not taken the gift he has bought for me. So I will just lie down there and be using style to push him away, trying to remove my body stylishly. he will struggle, struggle, and struggle. I would not open my eyes. I would just be doing it like I'm unconscious. I don't know if you get my explanation. So I would be doing it like I'm unconscious. I would not open my eyes, so I would just be using style to push him, fold my legs together, and things like that. But any day like that, and we wake up in the morning, I don't know if I make it find a fault in me and beats me mercilessly. He will beat me in a way that you would think maybe I'm his maid, or I'm a nobody to him. Then I'll get to school. So when I get to school, I told my teacher. So he said, it will not be easy for him to move on. Somebody that has been enjoying it and having his way, and then now I'm stopping him. So I should enjoy that. I would have to choose between allowing him have his way or the great animosity that he will be showing me, because he will keep on hating me for not allowing him have his way. I had no choice then to go back home, and these were my reasons. One, if I want to go back home, my mom would always tell me that there is no money to send me to school, and I know that I wanted to go to school. None of my elder sister, in fact, had O level. They didn't have O level before they got pregnant, and I do not want that for my life. I had envisioned myself to be a newscaster, because I was always reading the news when I was in school then. So I had dreams, and I know that if I do not go to school, I cannot accomplish it, which my mom cannot give to me. So I had to choose that animosity, the beating from my brother. This beating did not stop until I wrote my WAEC. It was so merciless, and it got to a point that he stopped feeding me. Yes, he stopped feeding me. He stopped giving me money to the money. It was my teachers then that were giving me money to eat. Mr. Julius, Mr. Godwin, and Mr. Pius. There was one time he hit me in my eye, and I was having serious eye problem. It was my teachers that took me to the clinic and bought me drugs, and I was on that drug for 3 months. Even now I use glasses, although it's just when I need to read, or when I've stressed my eye too much, that's when I use my glasses. So it's not that bad. But I remember that he was the cause of it. He beat me so much, so terribly. He beat me he beat me, doesn't beat me like a child. He beats me like he's beating his mates. So I had to endure the beating because I wanted to go to school, and that was the only choice. There was one night he didn't allow me to sleep in the room. He sent me outside. I can't remember what I did, but I know that if whatever I've ever done to him, he's my brother and I'm his family. He's not supposed to send me to sleep outside. So I was in the passage. I sat down there. I covered myself with the wrapper. When our neighbor, you would ask if we do not have a neighbor. Of course, we have neighbors, but they were all men, and it was only one of them that was married, Daddy Favor, and he had a wife, Mommy Favor. So most times they were the one that usually rescue me. They were the one that would always tell me, I should call my mommy now, I should report him. I'll tell them, okay, I've heard that they should just save me. And they will beg me to allow me stay after he had beaten me, and that was how it was. So that night I slept in Mama Favor's room. So I called my mom and narrated it to her that this is what, so my brother is beating me too much. And that Mama Favor used the opportunity to speak with my mom and told my mom how my brother used to beat me so mercilessly. My mom was not like, okay, she would try and find money to Kaduna to see to it. After several months, or in fact, it's even a year, because I was already in SS2 when with this story I'm about to tell. I was going to be the head girl because I was leading in the class. In fact, I was representing my school. Despite everything I was going through, I was representing my school. My teachers were my big time support. We still talk. I still have Mr. Julius and Mr. Godwin's contact. I still get to talk to them because I was like, they take me as a child. They pamper me a lot. So they asked me to be the head girl, and I informed my brother when I got home. He came to school the next day and told them they must not give me any position in this school, that I am not fit for it. Even despite seeing my results at the end of every term, he's not always pleased with it. He will tell me that it's a lie. I've probably bribed my teachers or do one or two things for them. In fact, I remember I used to say, my teachers started deceiving me. I started giving them my body right? That's why I'm having a total percentage of 90 out of 100. I cannot believe such. It is too good to be true. Things like that. So he came to the school and warned them not to give me. Anyways, that was it. Then Mr. Julius that was giving me money had gone for these 3 weeks NYC camp that he used to go for. He had gone for it. So I was not getting money like that. I was much more closer to Mr. Julius than Mr. Godwin and Mr. Pius. It is after I been want to share with first paying from his pocket to feed because there was no way I could get food. And then one day he caught me when I stole his money. So I confessed to him that all the money has been looking for, and the highest money I've stolen from him was 500 naira. But that very day it was 30 naira I stole because I checked his bag and I found 30 naira 5. I decided to take 3 and keep 2 for him. And so after I had begged him that money, that I'm sorry, it's because he doesn't give me money again, and there's no how I can feed. I'm tired of begging in the class. Then they already know me. In fact, there's one of my classmates. We still talk. They are twins, Mary and Martha. Their mommy used to put extra food for them because of me. They always tell their mom that I will not allow them eat too. And so that was it. Then he had taken in fact, he has taken my 100 phone about, I think after 3 months, I got to his place. He has taken it and sold it. He gave me a small phone. It was a small phone I was using then. So that morning, I begged him after he caught me stealing his money. But at night, when he came back, so he started shouting my name from outside. Toyin! Toyin! I was pretending to sleep because that's my usual way. Even if I'm not asleep, once I hear the sound of his bike, then he had a bike, I'll quickly cover myself and pretend like I've slept because I do not want any issue. I do not want to make a mistake that will make him beaten. So yeah, I pretended like I was sleeping. I just opened my eyes. Good evening, welcome. From there, he started beating me. One bag of pure water, I started stoning it at me on the bed. I was wet and he was beating me. My neighbors came and rescued me. And did not ask him, his name is Ola. Ola, what has your sister done to deserve all of this? Now to them, look at this stupid girl that I'm paying her school fees. Look at this stupid girl that I'm feeding and housing. She's using my money to buy body cream. She's using my money to buy powder. And she kept it under her bag. And perfume. So he went to bring it out. But I was now telling him, you should have asked me now how I got these things. They were my birthday gifts. Where I was learning, I was the youngest, although I senior some of the ladies there, but I was the youngest and they liked me. So they always gift me. In fact, there's a particular lady, Miriam, I used to call her my mommy. She was way older than I am, so I used to call her my mommy. She was the one that bought me that body cream. She told me that it will make my skin glow. She was the one that bought me the perfume. Then there's another guy, but I thought he's only Yoruba together with myself. So we used to call ourselves Yoruba brothers and sisters. He was the one that bought me a sandal. I was scared that if I tell my brother, he might not believe me, so I hid it in my bag. I didn't know that when I left for school in the morning, I checked. So he brought it out. I was not explaining to my neighbors that they were my birthday gift. Then I felt that, I'm preparing to go back to Lagos. So that was why I kept it under my bag. I'll be using it when I get back to Lagos. Although sometimes I used to sneak to use them. I told my neighbors like that, and they were like, even though she stole your money to buy all of this, it's too much, and things like that. That night too, I didn't sleep in the room. I slept outside. The next morning, he told me to get dressed for school. That he's going to disgrace me in the school, and everybody was going to shout on me that I'm a thief. I started begging him. No, I begged him, the job. Don't disgrace me. Please, don't disgrace me. He was begging me, but he had his mind made up already. The only thing he said was, he's not going to disgrace me on the assembly day, but he was going to tell my principal about it. And some of my class or some of my friends, maybe we need to know so that they can stop being friends with me. Meanwhile, I've already, because I was always the third student in the class. Those that were close, we call ourselves the six most entiers. We used to read together. I already told them what I was going through at home. It was only Priscilla and Chisom, because they were more godly than the rest. Chisom already know God. We used to pray together. You understand? So it was the only one I told that part of my brother raping me and drugging me, and then Priscilla. We still talk. The two, they know about it already. In fact, the day I shared it on X, I told Priscilla about it, and she was like, "It's fine. I'm happy that you have healed and moved on." So he called them and told them that I was a thief. They should stop being my friend and things like that. Those one just told them, "Okay, sir, bye bye," and they left. My principal began to insult me, call me different names, how he looked up to me, and my brother was not like, "That was the reason why I told you guys. She has some bad attitude. She's a thief. I didn't want her to be the head girl because she will impact negativity." So my principal believed him and started calling me names. He left, but I was crying profusely. So I cursed him again. And this particular one, I don't know how angry I was when I said those words. I went and I told God, "God, this is the time for you to fight for me. Before the end of this week, I want evil to befall him." I was saying it, my principal heard me. And immediately he heard me, he shut me up and sent me out of his office. But I already said those words. So after that day, he had gone to my place, all those things. But my boss and I were close. In fact, my boss loved me. He loves me so much. He doesn't joke with me. So I used the opportunity to tell him that, "Sir, if you notice that I don't used to sleep, I used to sleep during working hours when I'm learning. It's because I don't used to sleep at night. He used to disturb me. He wants to be sleeping with me. I will not be able to sleep at night because I'll be scared if he's going to come." That's the reason why I used to do it when I'm working. My boss just stood shut up, but I was so that same week I said those words, he had a very terrible accident. A very terrible one. A very, very terrible one. Because, in fact, I think for like 3 days before the accident, or 4 days before the accident, but same week though, I think it was on a Monday that it happened. And then he had an accident on Friday. We were not talking. I don't even greet him again in the house. I was already looking forward to writing my WAEC, although I wrote my WAEC in a sense too. And I already called one of my uncle then, my mom's younger brother too, in Lagos, that I wanted to write my WAEC and my mom did not have money. He was the one that paid for my Becca exam. So when I told him that I wanted to write my WAEC, so he sent me money. He sent it to my teacher, Mr. Julius. He sent 25,000 to Mr. Julius. I registered my WAEC for 18,000 naira. And then they used to register JAM for me, because they were thinking that if I'm able to write it and I had my exam, I'll be able to go to school and I would no longer have to stay with him or be with my mom too. That was the plan. So I already registered my WAEC and JAM, thinking that when he now comes to pay, that's when my principal will now issue the receipt for him and then refund the money back to Mr. Julius. My principal do not know about the whole plan, but Mr. Julius knows about it. Mr. Julius said he was paying because by the time my brother wants to pay in December. And then I paid, I think I paid June, yes. I paid June or July. And my brother was saying he would pay September or December because that's when he will have money. So Mr. Julius said he had to pay so that before my brother would pay, the few, he would have had additional late fee charge to it. So it will not be too much. That's why he's paying on my brother's behalf. I hope you get what that was what he told the principal. So he had the accident. I expected him to be, but then since we were not talking, I thought maybe it was because we were not talking. That's why I didn't come. I slept. But around 4, somebody knocked on the door. I thought it was the one. Yes, 4 a.m. And I went to open the door. It was his friend. They had called him that he had an accident and he's in the ICU. So that morning we went to the hospital. He was on oxygen. He was in the ICU. We were meant to understand that he was going to undergo brain surgery. Immediately, I started crying and regretting the word that I said, and I was asking God for forgiveness. I called my mom. She joined, I think, about 3 days later. She joined 3 days later. She came from Lagos, joined us. Before then, I was the one taking care of him, changing his pampers. And those family friends I told you, they are my grandmother's family. Yes, they were with me in the hospital. They were the one that would bring food for me to eat, and members of the church too. There's even a particular mommy that slept with me in the hospital one of those days before my mommy came. So when my mom came, they would not allow her into the ICU and that they know first. So that was it. I would just open the window for my mom to see through the window saying. So I was not asking God to forgive me for saying what I said. Maybe it was because of what I said that what befell him happened. And people will come around to pray, different pastors, prophets, they will come. And each time they come, they always tell my mommy that my mommy should beg me on behalf of my brother. And my mommy should always say, appeal to me to forgive him. And I always tell my calling me names in the hospital. I'm a witch. That's why she never wanted to hurt me. She tried to abort me several times. I still did not come down. I'm a witch. I'm a bad God. If I kill a holy son, I should know that I'm going to die too. I will just be quiet and be crying and be praying to God. That was how it happened until we were discharged. The surgery was successful to the glory of God. In fact, it was that my uncle that paid my WAEC fee that sent 200,000 for his brain surgery. The surgery was successful, although it took long before he healed because after the surgery became like a baby. We have to feed him, do so many things for him. After we were discharged, my mom will have to have his bath, and I need to go back to school too. So that was how it was. Then a very day, a prophet came to pray for us in the house. It was my uncle's wife that brought the pastor. Sorry. While the pastor was praying, then my brother was getting better already. Yeah. In fact, he has already started going out. So although he cannot work for too long, we need to support him. But now he was very okay. One was sitting while I was standing prayer. We now told them that according to what he's saying, my brother needs to beg me so much, and my mom too. They need to seek for my forgiveness because if I go back, he asked that when was I going back? Before I even talk, my brother said that after I've written my wife, after she has written her wife, she's going back. He had that. So the pastor said, before I leave, we should make sure that he asks for my forgiveness. Because if not, that more evil will befall him. He was telling my mom like that, and my mommy rejected it. And the man now said, my mommy should call me and talk with me so that I can open up my mind in the presence of my brother. Anyway, so the man left, and my mommy now called me and asked me what my brother did to me that made me do whatever I did to him. So I narrated the whole issue to her. She shouted immediately, me, I'm a liar. Before I left, I told her it was Babashino. Now, why is it my brother? So then I was already exposed. I was already 16. So I now told her, Paro, that means though Babashino did not have sex with me, but then I was thinking, once a man touch you now, he has already had sex with you. I narrated it. But this one my brother did. He penetrated and it did not happen once. It happened so many times. And after the second time that I stopped using the drinking or taking whatever advice from me, he just told me like that. But this is how I was doing it. I narrated it to her. And now he used to beat me so badly, maltreat me so much. I told my mom everything. She didn't believe. She started cursing me. Me. If anything happened to her only son, if anything happened to the only male child she has in my father's house, she will make sure that I brag too. She will make sure. So I walked out. I just told her, now, kilo come, so I stood up and I walked out. That was it. My mommy did not believe me. After my WAEC, In fact, he put me in the cab as early as 5 a.m. in the morning after my exam. I think 3 days after my exam. And he didn't even give me 15 naira to eat. Then I was already having symptoms of ulcer. So while when we were driving, we got to Kogi State, and I was having pains in my stomach. A lady sitting beside me she's but older person than me. She told me she's going to Lagos for the first time. I was not telling her my experiences in Lagos. I started living in Lagos since my dad died, and I was very young and things like that. Where she was going, I happened to know the place. She was going to Bega, and of course, Bega is a popular place in Lagos. I'm like, you will know now, Bega, this and that. I was telling her that when you get to Bega, you get bus to any other places you are going to in Lagos. So she was the one that fed me throughout the whole journey. I got to Ibafu 10 p.m. at night. My mommy welcomed me. Everybody welcomed me in the street, and that was how I escaped. But I kept saying it. This thing happened. Why am I being short not to talk about it? It happened. If it did not happen, I would never lie against him. So I had it in mind that when I'm grown to some certain level, I will talk about it again. So I think in 2021, no, in 2019, I left home. I went to work as an house help. I left home. I left my mom. I went to work as an house help because I do not like my mom then. But when I came back, I was like, I went to work as an house help, and I left there after I'd worked 1 year and 9 months. Yes, I think so. It was during COVID-19 in 2020. So they were not able to pay me for 5 months. And then I already wrote another way because that was like 4 years after I'd finished my secondary school already. So I wrote my WAEC again. Then I was already much more closer to God. So I had a redirection of my career. I prayed, and I had a change of career from what I had planned to be before. So I had to write my WAEC again as a commercial student. I was an art student when I was in school. My first WAEC was good. In fact, it was even my brother that went to collect the original results. The scratch card was even with him, and it was one that called my mom that I did well. However, after my rededication and all, I had a change of career. So I had written JAM that year and wrote my WAEC again. I think I had 229 my JAM that year. Yes, 229. So when they could not pay me 5 months salary, I left. They promised that they were going to pay me afterwards. So when I came back, the hatred I had for my mom started growing in my mind, and my heart was terrible. It was just greeting. We don't talk. We don't have any special mother and daughter conversation. Once I go to work and I come back, I just greet her. In the morning, I just wake up, and I always want to leave the house as early as possible, not to have any interaction with her. So the fellowship I was a brother there, a young minister. We were praying that day, and then he said the Spirit of the Lord told him that I have so much hate in my heart towards my mom. So I told him the story too. Then he encouraged me that I should pray and go back to my mom and tell her everything she had done to me. I prayed. So that night I told my mom all over again from how she has been treating me, saying ill words to me, making me feel like I caused my father's death. So she not more than me. She did not believe me, and I told her everything. And for the first time, my mom was so sober and humble. She was crying, and she started begging me. She begged. Oh, she begged. In fact, she knelt down that night. I was the one that carried her up. She pleaded for her ignorance, that she didn't know what covered her senses for her not to believe me, and that she was sorry. She begged me, and that was it. So we hugged, and it was from then that we started having this mother and daughter conversation. Although she begged on my brother's behalf, but I told her that I have caused him, although I was a child and I was naive. And I confessed that he did this to me. That until then, the course will not go. Although I have forgiven him, In fact, I have pleaded to God for mercy on his behalf, but I still feel that this cause will come to pass. So he should come. My mommy should invite him and hold a family meeting together with my other sisters, and then I should talk about it again. She asked for forgiveness, and that will be all. That was what I told my mom that night, and she said, okay, she'll work towards it. I think a year later, I already gotten admission to Yaba Tech as a part-time student because there was nobody to sponsor me to school, so I had to work and be going to school. I don't know what happened that day between my mom and I. I think it was just a normal misunderstanding between mother and daughter. Then I began to talk again. In fact, this time around, I felt I was grown enough now to pour out my mind. Anything I started talking to her. That's how she promised me that she was going to call my brother to say all that he did to me and ask for my forgiveness. She didn't do that. So I left the house and I was staying with the church member and church family. They were elderly people, grandma. We used to call her mommy. She's a deaconess in the church. But her daughter was my friend. Her name is Kiona. She was also at the comment section to testifying to it when some people were doubting my story. So I was staying in their house. I didn't go back home again. I told them over and over again. And I told them that this time around, I feel like we should go to the jail. So we sought for help online. And some foundation reached out to me, some human rights activists reached out to me. But however, there was not so much evidence. I tried to get, they said if I can get him to confess, that's the only thing that would allow him to be jailed or punished. But if not, there's not so much that they can do. The only thing is they can help me to get an apartment, which at that time I thought there was no need. I could stay with those family. So they sorted my school fee for that section. Then they also got a therapist for me. Mr. David was my therapist, and it was fun though. Video call and voice call for a month. Yeah. So that was it. And it was a big fight between my mom, my sisters, because they were calling and threatening me. But our third one that I'm currently living with, he threatened to kill me. They were recorded now. I still have them on my phone until sometimes last year or early this year when I changed my phone. So I deleted it. She threatened to kill me. That if anything happened to their only brother, their only male child, that they will make sure they kill me. It was only our second born. Yeah, she didn't want she didn't want to be on my side and didn't want to be on my brother's side. So I was trying not to be impartial. Yeah, but only our firstborn. She's old. She's 45. So she believed me. I'm not going to lie, but the only thing she was doing was begging me not to take the matter to the court that it will lead to. Because then I remember that my lawyer called my mom one time and told her that they are coming for my son. For her son. So she had told them about that one. And that was it. So I was living with those family because of the threats that was coming. In fact, this is our third one I'm living with currently because I don't have anywhere else to live. For now, I just finished my program in Yaba Tech. I'm still trying to get my feet because that was it. So she was, although we didn't talk, me and my family, we didn't talk for a year. In fact, what made me to be living with her was when she lost her husband last year and she had nobody to be around her. So then my mommy had already asked for my forgiveness again. In fact, my brother came. Yes, I'm sorry I skipped that part. My mom now invited my brother. He came in 2022. Yes, he came in 2022, 2 years ago. So they held a meeting and they invited me. So I had a small phone with me. I borrowed it from someone. That was what I used to put on the record. And he denied it. Although I was no longer hurt again because I've healed now. In fact, I felt it was no longer a secret. The only time it was very hurting for me was when it was a secret and nobody knows. But now I feel like so many people know about it already. So whether or not my family believe, people outside have listened to me and believed me, and that was enough for me to heal and move on. I didn't cry. I was just telling him that you claim to be a child of God and you claim to be a born again Christian. Why are you lying, Ola? You look me in the eye and deny that you did these things to me. Remember that even if I do not get justice here on earth, we will die one day. I'll meet. So everybody rushed me. In fact, I didn't have transport to go back home that day. I didn't have transport. I ran. I had to call that my friend's mom that was living with them. She was the one that sent me 500 naira to a POS that I used to come back. Because of the threat, I began to shiver that what if they harm me? In fact, one of them was threatening me with a charm. The one that I was mad at that I'm living with now. She threatened me with a charm. She said, I hope I remember that her husband, that's her father-in-law, is an herbalist. So even if she cannot get me because they are not literate, they do not go to school, and I think because I am learned, I want to cheat them and lie against their brother, that she will go spiritual with that day. I just released myself, and that was how I escaped. And I didn't pick their calls again. I didn't talk to any of them for over a year until last year, August, when her husband died. And I was the only one that was available. When her husband's death, I had no choice than to come and sympathize with her. And that was how we were able to resolve it. Although she did not apologize to me about what she did anyway, but my mom, and in fact, after their threat, my mom now informed a senior pastor. Yes. Hey, what was his position in the DM? I know he's the head of sanitation. Yes, the worldwide sanitation. The man was, he invited my brother and I to the church, and he said that he had prayed and he knows the truth. But he would want each and every one of us to confess. I told the story again, but my brother denied it. In fact, he was in a church. We were sitting very close to the prophet. He denied it again. He didn't admit that he did it to me. But the pastor said he knows the truth, but then he will hand it over to God. Since whoever that is lying refused to tell the truth. So the pastor now said, whatever court issue that is going on, I should let it go. That God will have a way to vindicate whoever that is telling the truth. That was what he said. And he became my daddy. In fact, I used to call him my daddy. He used to check up on me very well. Very, very well. He used to call me. So that was the last time I set my eyes on my brother. Anytime I hear that he's coming around and maybe I'm with my mom, I will leave my mom's place, stay with this my third born, our third born. And whenever he's coming down here, I'll go back there, or I'll find a way to stay with some of my friends. But I don't really have friends like that. It was only that precious Kiona. She was the only family I was staying with. So that's it. That's my story. The only thing that helped me was Jesus, because I had, but I had
It was, oh my God.
so much.
You attempted suicide too?
When I was so many times that I cannot count. The last one that happened was where I was working as people. Just as I was about to go about do it, my little boy, I called them my children. Those were the kids of the family I was working with. He came and he's the only one that called me. And he was just of 2 years then. Because I started working with him. He was the one that came and he liked all of my heart. That was the last time I attempted suicide. So, in conclusion, I have personally, my life story has made me realize that no matter how little that child is, whatever any child tells me, either my child or even a total stranger, because I thought for a very long time in my life. In fact, times that I did other jobs cannot be compared to the years from immediately after my YX, 16 years after the house help job. I still went back to teaching. I just stopped teaching this year because I had to do my IT in an organization fitting for my for my course of study is that I will always believe any child, regardless, I will always give them listening ears. In fact, one little child in primary 3 that spoke to me because I always tell them, if your mommy and your daddy do not believe you at home, come and tell Miss Grace. So the little boy came to tell me that his auntie is touching him in a way he do not like. He was primary 3 pupil. But I went home with him and I told his mother, his son told me, and you have to do a lie. And that was how the issue was resolved. The mom had to send the auntie away by getting her an apartment. So in all, I just want to encourage everyone that we should have Jesus in our life, because if not for Jesus, I have backslided so many times. So I would not lie to you. The situations I found myself in had made me feel that God neglected me at some point in my life. Aside this very one that I discussed, maybe some other time when I come in, I will say some other part of my stories. But then there was a time I thought God was wicked to me and I left him, but he never, for once, he didn't leave me, because he saw my heart that I was genuine. Because he saw my heart that I genuinely love him and I wanted to serve him. I didn't want to live any life that would not please him. But because things that surround me that discouraged me, I backslided. He never left me. He was always there at the last, when I least expected. Jesus will always come through for me. In fact, it was the only one that I saw when there was no God. Different ways. I said, there's so many places. Imagine coming from Kaduna, I don't know anybody in the vehicle, and a lady was buying me luxury food. I think in fact, I've never had those food in a long while. Throughout the journey, I didn't serve. That was God being with me. So just encourage us when we start being a parent, we should listen to our children, because it is very germane. They are our future. Because right now, I am the one that is doing a little bit better than every of my siblings. Yes, including their son, their only male child, that they think he will be the one to do well. He's 34 and still struggling with life. I don't know about him, really, but sometimes when they discuss, I eavesdrop, I hear it by chance. He's not married, he's still struggling. Can't remember the last time he sent money to my mom. I'm always the one she calls. I'm the one that takes care of my mom when she's sick. I'm always the one. And in fact, I pay one of my sister's son's school fees. The one that I'm living with, their last one, since the husband died last year, I've been the one responsible for his school fee. So in fact, it was just God. I would just say it was just God. So in everything we are going through, even the ones that are not as deep as we talk as other people's story, it's just God. Now I'm like a king to all of my sisters. I'm like a king. They don't take decision without consulting me. When they offend me, like recently, this my third one that I'm living with, she offended me by cursing me one time like that. And she in fact sent me out of her house, I think 2 months ago. But then I do not have enough money to get even a room here. You have to have up to 150, which I do not have at hand. So they had to call a meeting, and everyone was calling me. Our first one called and begged that I should please forgive her, that she probably got angry or maybe she's depressed or something. They were not defending or supporting her, they were supporting me. In fact, our second born called me to come to her house and she begged me. And over time, she also apologized that she was sorry, that she was just angry. That was it. My mom was there when it happened. She never supported her. She was rightly supporting me and was telling me that I should just be calm. I should not be angry. So God has vindicated me in this way. God has vindicated me, has lifted me. I'm not earning so much. Oh. In fact, my salary is very little, but God bless me. He sent people to give me money in my life. I've never earned 100,000 naira by my sweat. It is people that gift me. I've received 200,000 gifts. I've received 300,000 from a total stranger from abroad I do not know. Recently, I think the time I shared my story, someone reached out to me that she believed in me and she's not staying in Nigeria. She said she had to send someone to credit me, and the person sent me 100,000 naira. I do not work for it, and that's how God has been providing for me.
Wow.
It's just God. It's just God. That's how I'll be receiving blessing. My salary is just 30,000 naira. I am being honest. My salary is just 30,000 naira, but I receive gifts every day. No matter how little it is, I will receive gifts. When I do not have anything at all, and all my hope are lost, God will always send someone to me. When I do not know about this, I always get troubled. I always get very, very troubled. I'll become depressed. I'll start thinking, hey, how do I pay my school fee? Hey, exam is just next week. I'll be able to pay my school fees. In fact, my handy days, it was just God. Both my lecturers and students, they love me. They support me. There's a lecturer that even gives me money every weekend. Once I get to school, he's always giving me money. Some students who, my governor, happened to you? Why are you not happy? I take, because I was the governor throughout the 3 years of my program. I was the governor, and that was it. It was just God. So if I didn't have God in my life, probably would have died. If I didn't know God at all, the suicide attempts would have been successful, because I cannot explain how God has been rescuing me. I had so many times I have attempted it. In fact, so many uncountable times. But God find a way to rescue me. He find a way to rescue me from committing suicide and ending my life. And I'm just glad, because now there's nothing that can move me anymore. The only thing that can move me is when my salvation is shaking. That's the only thing that gets me so worried, and I have to run back to the cross and begging Jesus to help me. Wow. That's the only thing that gets me worried now. Aside that, there's nothing. There's nobody that would offend me, that will get to me so badly. I just see it as maybe it's a way of Satan coming to me to make me fall again, and just let it go. Just let it go. Or I speak my mind. That's just it. So it's a privilege to speak and talk to people this night. But I'm so excited, very, very happy that so many people are listening to me at this moment. So I hope that we have learned, and you can tell my story. I'm not ashamed. It's not a secret. It happened. If it never happened, I would never lie. I'm a child of God. I have nothing to gain to lie against Allah. I have nothing to gain lie against Him. So it's my story. It's my truth. You can tell the story anywhere, anytime. I think you need to share it to encourage somebody, or to put somebody on the track, or to assist or to support somebody. You feel there's a need for you to share my story. Please share it. You are free, because it happened. It's not a secret, and I'm not ashamed, because I've moved on. And in Christ, I'm a virgin. In Christ Jesus, I'm a new person. I'm a born again child of God. So I'm still a virgin in Christ Jesus, regardless of my past.